Everybody. It's
Morning.
Friday. We're ready. We've had a jam-packed week, tons of things going on. And what a better way to recap your day with Ryan and Jeff. Let's go.
Let's go.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
Always love that intro, man. That intro is always a top notch. Shout out to Dan for making that. Lisa, good morning. So happy to see you every single day this week. It's been spectacular. There's this
Hey, good morning, Lisa.
adding our show as a habit of yours. So we're so thankful for you always being here, being with us, always engaging. So good
Yeah,
morning,
thanks for your
Lisa.
support.
Yeah, of course. And we want to know what your wins and lessons are for the week as well, Lisa. Definitely hit us up. Jeff, man, like before we get into it, man, this week has been such, for me, I feel like October itself has been like a month of like abundance and blessings and things like that, right? Because
Uh,
um it's been good, it's been really good, man. How you been?
yeah, good, man. And I'll tell you, it's like we're on warp speed, right? I mean, it
Yeah.
seems like we just started the month like yesterday. And here we are, pretty much in the middle of the month. And it's just going by so fast. I think it's because we're busy and
Yes.
we forget about time and how much of it we have available, because when you get involved in what you're doing, you look at the clock and you're just pounding away and you're making phone calls and you look up again, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like, what the heck happened?
It's like
So all good, man. I mean, just all good. I have absolutely no complaints. How about you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm the same way too. It's been such a great week for me, like in terms of like my business, even my personal life. I've gone to events on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with my wife, and just having a lot of fun. And that's kind
Yeah.
of like reinvigorated me. Like I'm the type of person like, hey, let's go do some events. Let's be social, let's meet other people, and go to like different concerts and things like that. So the Leafs, Toronto Maple Leafs, their home opener started last night. I believe they won. So hopefully they did. I know The Rock is in town. The Rock is like my hero. Like I love The Rock. So he was in town promoting his movie. So you could smell it in the air, that
Oh
it's
no.
it is awesome. It's freaking awesome. So let's get
Or
into it.
what you got cooking?
Yeah, yeah. Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? He's definitely one of the best entertainers and motivators I've personally seen. Jeff, let's get into your wins this week, my friend.
Oh man, you know what? Let's just start off with Don Gilmore on,
Woo,
on on Wednesday. Man,
what a
I mean not
banger.
Wednesday, on Tuesday. It was just unbelievable. I mean, talking about the world's greatest salesman and how it relates to us, and everything that he spoke about, and the way he linked it with nothing. I mean, that gentleman had nothing back in 1917, and he traveled the world. He was young. He found a way to make connections, to buy businesses in the Depression, mind you. I mean, it's just incredible, the power of positivity. Let's just call it that, because that's what it took, Ryan. It took, immense mindset and having that positivity, that positive nature, in order to move that peanut forward. And did he fail? We found out that he did fail, and that you have to fail to be successful. And we've preached that many, many times, that if you haven't failed, you're not learning. And that gentleman learned rather quickly in a very short period of time, because I mean, he was very successful. Right at 24, he owned and bought pretty much an island on 70 acres, 30 rooms, 17 bedrooms, right? And he died at 52. We were talking about, at that time, maybe a 24-year-old was actually like a 48-year-old,
Yes.
and 52, he was in his 80s, just because they didn't have the medicine. What's really funny, because he was in pharma, and that's how he made his success. And it was an awesome interview. Would love to have that gentleman back again. I mean, I think he was, dead on with what he had available to do that book. It was awesome. And the other win is that we finally, I'm the president of the North Jersey Association of logistics and supply chain luminaries. We're finally kicking it off after months and months of talking with my board members. We're having our kickoff in Fairfield, New Jersey, at the Franklin Steakhouse on November 2nd at 6 p.m. We finally launched our new logo for our site on LinkedIn. Thanks to Ann Wilkinson's daughter, who's very talented and creative, and created that logo for us. So we're so pumped that finally we can start bringing people that are like-minded, who want to help people in the ever-challenging industry that we work in, just to help each other be successful. So we're so psyched on that, man. I cannot wait, what the future brings for my new association. So it was all great.
Yeah, if you can tell the audience that's watching just a little bit about what kind of the mission is, and what you guys are aspiring, like you kind of mentioned, for like-minded people in our industry, but like how and even how they can even get in contact with you if somebody's in that area.
Yep, sure. The mission statement is pretty simple, that we didn't want to be a good old boys club, the normal traffic club that was out there that just did the same things. We wanted it to be meaningful, where people can speak to peers and mentors within the industry to learn. So basically, when you come into one of our gatherings, that you're going to leave with something meaningful. It's not just going to be having drinks and just, you're banging elbows or whatever. I mean, you're going to learn something. And that's why I wanted to build this association to do just that, because it's an ever challenging industry we work in, and we have to be up to speed, and we have to have our finger on the pulse all the time. And we want to help new graduates, like, for instance, like the Smeal Business School in Penn State. These graduates that come out, they're wet behind the ears, that they need that mentorship, they need that help, and we want to help them to get their feet planted. One of my board members, Monica, owns Bullseye Staffing, which is a recruiter in the logistics and transportation sector. And she's part of my board, and she's be there to help people, educate people in the industry. We've got Brett Benja, who is managing branch manager for CH Powell. He's on the board, and we have Ann Wilkinson, who is the director of Ocean USA for Pegasus Logistic Group. We have a talented board, and we just see so many good things happening. And we welcome everybody out there. I mean, it's going to be at the Franklin Steakhouse in Fairfield, New Jersey on November 2nd, starting at 6 p.m. We'd love to have you come join us, be part of history, be part of creating something that's new and ingenious, I would say, because it's not going to be something that you've ever been associated with before as your normal traffic clubs out there.
That's awesome, man. And you know what? I was actually thinking this morning in the shower when I was kind of getting ready for the show and things like that, and just thinking about like my brand, and that's something that since I've kind of come on the show that I've kind of I put some focus into. Before, I always kind of used to separate my personal life, like let's say like my social medias, everything would be on private, and then I came here and I'm like, okay, well, it's my brand, and I'll give you an amazing story that actually happened this week. I actually called a traffic manager this week just in my like daily prospecting, and they actually watched the show. They mentioned, they're like, oh, you're Ryan from like Sales Chatter, and I was like, you just never know the impact that you have on anybody, right? And you just never know who's watching. So kudos to you, Jeff, and kudos to your amazing team, like, for seeing that we don't want to be like the old boys club, right? We want to bring progress, we want to bring change, we want to bring innovation, right? Yes. Because everybody, like, if I wish we had something like that in Toronto, because I would definitely actively participate, right? Because when I was talking to John Brewer about the Nashville one, I straight up asked him, I'm like, is it a situation where carriers and brokers go there to find shipping managers and just talk their ear off? He's like, no. It's, hey, we're friends first. And if business comes out of it, business comes out of it. But that's never the mission or the goal. And I think when you kind of go in genuine, people get to know who you are, and they kind of understand your values and your ethics, then business will be second, So
yeah. I mean, what it's about basically is that we're going across multimodal sectors within supply chain, and we'll have SMEs who will join us. We'll just talk about the difficulties on, in every little vertical within the supply chain, and help them to be more creative to solve problems, not just on the shipper side, on the carrier side, ocean, you name it. That's what we're going to discuss, the pitfalls and everything else related to it. Whatever you can think of, that's what the discussion is going to be about, because we need that. There's so many issues within the supply chain right now that, we need to start educating the new generation of logisticians that are coming into the field. At least give them some pointers to help them. And like I said, the main thing is to help them to get their feet planted in the right part of the industry that they would like to get into. And that's what it's all about. It's just people helping people. It has to, we wanted something that's just different than everybody else.
That's awesome, man. Because like you said, and the one thing I would definitely take away from that is that when you're bringing these new people in, new graduates, and like even somebody who's like senior, you're kind of transitioning. Hey, this is a career. This is not a job. This is not something that you just put on your resume and kind of go for it. So thanks for sharing that, buddy. I just want to say good morning to Kyle. Nice to see you here this morning, brother. Scott. Always love your content, man. It's pretty awesome. Congratulations! I think I saw that you hit a certain level of followers on LinkedIn. So
2,000 he hit. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So for my wins, like for me, it's been a good week. On the business side, acquired a new customer. We're getting started up with them, and we're like-minded. And that's one of the best things that we're doing. Professionally, personally, like I said, we went to we had fun this week. This was a fun week, and it's knowing that balance, right, Jeff? That hey, not every week is going to be hey where I'm out and about every week, but enjoy those moments, right? And then next week, basically get to the grindstone, because today definitely going to take some time to go over my goals again. Understand, hey, am I on track? Where am I at? Where I got to tweak a little bit. So I think that's up for my lessons. My wins for the week. In terms of lessons, my friend, what do you want to share?
Oh man, this is really. I don't know. It's more of a learning experience than anything else, because being in the industry for 35 years, I ran into something that was just absolutely mind blowing, but it also opened up a door for me because it's a challenge that I don't think anybody out there ever ran into, especially the people that I've spoken with, and it had to do with a prospect that had a shipment that came out of Thailand, and it was a container, and they had like 30 or 40 of them that came in to Port Houston, and we did the dray part of it, and they brought it to the transloader, and the first couple were fine. And they all had those big seals on them, right? And all the bill of ladings say SLC, seal intact. So this is mind blowing. So the dray carrier brings in this one container. The supervisor at the cross dock comes out there. They cut the bolt off. They open up the doors. Nothing inside. Zero. They shipped air. I know it. You can't make this stuff up. I've done a lot of ocean shipments over my lifetime in this industry, and I just find it beyond odd. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at an inside job. There's something that's happening there, which is just like one of the biggest one-offs that I have ever ran into, that somebody can actually ship across the Pacific a 40-foot container empty with a seal on it, with a bill of lading, with nothing in it. I mean, that's
a first. That's a first for me. Yeah,
I've talked to people in the maritime industry, and they were like, "What?" And I love a challenge. and I'm going to try to help them back into this to find out what happened. But from my past experience, this has to be an inside job. It has to be an inside job because you have to pull those containers off that dock. The driver, dray carrier, goes out to the back to swing those doors closed, and the supervisor, in most cases, if not all the processes, he goes out there. He puts that seal on it, and then the driver yanks on it to make sure it's secure. And once it's secure and locked, they'll put SLC and seal intact. So where did that product go? That's just, it's unbelievable. It's I don't know. It will be a lesson because it's a first, and I'll identify it, and I will get to the bottom line of it to help
Keep us
them out.
posted on it, and I feel like maybe you need to do like a crime mystery podcast on that, like
Pretty much,
the empty container. And I just want to shout out here, Scott. He's definitely been training new reps, so that's amazing. Just to see the growth that you're kind of going towards, and that's what it's all about. And Kyle brings up a thing. Kyle is extremely knowledgeable in our industry, and you mentioned, hey, they're shipping some of that sailboat fuel, as we always hear about carriers hauling out of Florida. So yeah, keep us posted on that, Jeff. That's not something that I'm envious of you. So it's gonna be a nice mystery, and I know you like jigsaw puzzles. So
it was like I say inside job because when I was working in the automotive field, a whole trailer load of engine products got stolen, and I literally sat at my desk and at Ford and watched 48 hours of video surveillance, and I saw the truck. I mean, it was just like that, and we were able to find that in downtown Patterson, behind some place where the contents was empty and everything, and we were able to track it down. So I love these type of challenges on this kind of stuff, and I'm looking forward to trying to help them out. Taiwanese people are pretty tough to deal with, for the simple reason is that they're persistent as hell. You think you have problems with customers here where they call you like every couple hours. Well, Taiwanese people, they call you every 5, 10, 15 minutes. I'm not on the receiving side of this. It's my shipper. I'm just trying to, be that medium between the two and just keep on prying. But it's definitely a mystery. But I just... it was funny because the weight of the trailer when they scaled it was the weight of the container. It was the weight of the container, no products. I mean, what it says on the back of it, tear weight, gross weight, all that, that's what it was. I mean, right to the T. It was pretty incredible.
So I'm thinking this warrants a trip for Jeff first time in Taiwan.
No, I'm not.
Get out there and get your little magnifying glass and get your Sherlock Holmes on.
And a man's got to know his limitations, and I'm not fun.
Well, I'm just gonna say, man, you do have the Sherlock Holmes look, so you'd pull it off, and go for the Halloween.
What makes you think that?
I know, right? What makes you think that? Yeah, maybe need a Watson. With that being said, I kind of want to touch base on yesterday. Yesterday was something that we definitely talked about a lot off the air, and I think everybody who watched yesterday, I think the past 2 Thursdays, I think every episode we're crushing it, but the last 2 Thursdays have been amazing. The reason why that I've really enjoyed yesterday's episode was that it wasn't somebody in our industry, not somebody who's a personal development person. It's literally an author, and to hear him talk about and do the research that he did on Carlo Ritchie, saying like, hey, these are the processes he went through. Like, I don't know if you kind of noticed it as Don was talking yesterday. I was just smiling, as he's kind of going. I was smiling so much because he's like, hey, pick a niche. He bet on himself by going all the way to England, to the UK, for Enos and all that stuff. So it's amazing to kind of hear a different perspective, and that made me think yesterday. We're gonna, in the future of the show as well, is, hey, let's bring people not really in it like us, and just kind of get their perspectives and things like that. One thing we definitely talk about, right, is that Carlo Ritchie wasn't a media guy. He didn't have his branding wasn't based on social media. So we know
Oh,
Dale Carnegie. Like, what would
what we were
Carlo
talking
Ritchie be today with, like, what would he do today with all the media? Like all the
He would
coverage.
be. He would be Dale Carnegie. I mean, we spoke about that before. What blew me away was a guy that's so successful was kind of an introvert when you
Yep.
think about it, because he didn't crave the media. He didn't go out of his way to push his product or what he did, but yet he was able, to be extremely successful. I mean, look at it. A 30-room mansion at 20, what was it, 24 or 26 years old?
24, man. That's
Unbelievable. No, I mean, look, none of these, look at the length of time that it took him to get to his contacts in Europe,
yeah.
to create that meeting, to take the Queen Mary, to go over there, to take that leap of faith, to do that face to face. He must have been so confident in his abilities to sell. He could probably sell his mother. I mean, seriously, when you think about that, it's, the questions just come up. How did he do that? In the Depression, mind you, unbelievable,
It's amazing. And you know
unbelievable.
what? It's that time. It's that time to get into the DAT lane of the day.
Let's do that.
So today's lane of the day is going to be van out of Madison, Wisconsin, back to Atlanta, Georgia. We're looking at line haul RPM at $2.46 a mile. With fuel, it's looking at $3.12 a mile. Contract rate, including fuel, is going to be $3.49 a mile. Year over year of change has been minus $1.05. And basically, upward movement. I've been this lane of saying that's restoring back the historic seasonality. The current rate is about 20 cents higher than the September average. So we're seeing these rates kind of peak out. I know for me, anytime we kind of talk about Atlanta, I'm always thinking about Butterball, all the turkeys that they're milking out of there, even Coca-Cola's out there too. So we're definitely seeing some trends, and Dean actually mentioned it on Wednesday as well.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. So just come back to like your point, we've talked about Carlo Ritchie, greatest salesman. Even I think I want to take a drive up to his like 30 house mansion, 30-room mansion or wherever it is in Toronto.
That's a 5-hour drive though for you, right?
Yeah, but it's better than, let's say I got to go to California or something, right? So, maybe we'll figure out something to kind of do there. But like I said, I thought it was amazing. Seeing other content yesterday. I was taking in DJ, his show yesterday as well.
Yeah.
Just really, really good stuff there. And I think that there's just a lot of content out there that we can absorb, and we can actually take value and whatever we can get from it and kind of impact it into our own lives, right? So it's been awesome, Jeff. I think everything that we're kind of seeing, we're kind of doing. We're hoping to see Dan again soon. We definitely missing that piece that he kind of brings to the show.
Oh yeah.
Jeff, what are you up to this weekend, my friend?
Oh, what am I up to this weekend? You know what? Nothing much. I mean, seriously, when we go and do stuff, we usually, maybe go to the casino, movie or something like that. But sometimes, just like last weekend, we're just going to sit back and not do much at all. My daughter wants me to go to the diesel drags with her, and I'm like, oh man,
Oh, man, put on the do it, man, do it.
I know she races diesel trucks and builds them, so it's like, oh well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. It's like ad hoc. You wake up in the morning, like, yeah, sure, all right, let's do this. That's pretty much
what I love about weekends. Yeah, that ad hoc weekends are what's funny though, Jeff? Like, I say it's like ad hoc weekends, but I end up doing the same stuff. Like, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll look at my wife, and I'll be like, "You want to go get breakfast?" And then when we go and do breakfast,
right?
then we'll do our errands, right? We'll go to like a Winners, Marshalls, all that stuff. Like, we got that loop that we got, and it's like it seems like it's a surprise, but it's not really.
It's not really.
So
Yeah.
everybody, let us know what you're up to this weekend. It's been something that's getting colder here in Toronto, so it's time to bundle up and go enjoy all the fall weather that kind of brings to you. But coming back to it, like, I like the balance that we've kind of seen with other salespeople and things in this industry.
Mhm.
Jeff, what is like your number one point or your number one idea about balance? Because I know you go hard all the time, but having that balance.
Well, it's something that I fail to do time and time again that I really got to be more cognizant about. Because yes, I do love what I do. It's not a job and it's an adventure. And I've been doing it for 35 years, not on the sales side. And I keep on saying it because I'm not a sales guy and I don't pretend to be. I'm pretty good at logistics, and that's how I do what I do. However, yeah, you really need to find that small window of opportunity, as I call it,
Mhm.
to take the time out. And I said it many times, to take this, and I told you to take it, put it down, don't look at it, forget about it, clear your mind. I know you do meditations as well, and that's fantastic, but you really need to do that. I failed to do that. I'm just an honest person. So
Yeah.
it's something that um, I lack pretty bad in, and I got to really start doing that. But it's just because of the love of what I do day in and day out that sometimes I forget about what's best for me, and it's, yeah, I need that balance. I know you have a much better balance than I do. And, I need to start listening to you and what you do and what Trey does,
Yeah.
to get that fine balance and just, put things down and just forget about it. But, if you've been doing the same thing for many, many years, as I have, it's just ingrained in you. It's unfortunate, but fortunate, if that makes any sense, that it's just, I don't know, it's in your DNA, and it's something I need to change. I'm not getting any younger.
And Lisa brings up a great point. When she's getting to up this week, she's doing some trick or treating at her
Oh,
daughter's
good.
school and a hunger walk to support a family who lost their son recently. And I do apologize. Please send my
Oh, well,
condolences. That's definitely something hard and not that I wish on anybody.
that's a
Lisa,
shame.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah, it's just
that's the
unfortunate
worst.
something like that. But the
That's the
one
worst.
thing that I've noticed about Lisa and Chad, they've anytime, hey, if it's triumph or tragedy, they're there, and just want to wish Lisa and Chad a great weekend. And
Yeah,
like
yep, absolutely.
they're
It's
awesome and things like
devastating.
that. Just even when it comes to balance, like I think balance is the most important thing. It's the most important thing, period. And I was reading a post, and the reason why I bring this up, I was reading a post yesterday on Reddit. I'm big, like I said, I mentioning all these times. I'm big Reddit. The freight brokers subreddit is really important for me. So it was basically somebody who's been in the industry for 8 years, and they're cradle to the grave. And what they were saying is that, hey, man, I'm burnt out, man. What do you guys do? What do you guys? How do you guys manage this? I think he mentioned that he has like a purple folder that has all his carrier contacts, has all his load shipments, has everything. And he literally takes that folder everywhere he goes. He says he's been on blind dates with it. He's been at the dentist with it. He's been at the club with it and things like that. And like I had to reply to it and kind of like say like, it's important to bring other people in if you're at that point at a cradle to the grave situation.
Yeah,
I said, hire somebody, train them up, let them run your book or do your ops or your customer service. Because I mentioned that,
always.
it's better to make 70 cents and 70 cents on the dollar and have an amazing work life balance and you're not stressed than make $1 and then you're doing everything. And then you're like,
Yes.
well, like for
Yeah.
me, my biggest turning point, Jeff, was when I was cradle to the grave. Like I took my girlfriend at the time to Dominican and I was working. I was on an all inclusive. And mind you, those were the days where you're salaried, you get like 2 weeks vacation or something like that. So you use one week to go away and then use the other
Yep.
week to like extend your Friday or extend your Monday or whatever. Right. So this was my true vacation for the year. And I was like, this can't be it, man. This can't be it. So what are your thoughts on base of the balance there, Jeff?
Well, something, it's really funny. I've been married to my wife for a very, very, very long time. And a lot of my friends go, you know why your marriage lasts? Because you never saw your wife. Especially when,
Maybe
I
I should
mean,
write that one down.
seriously, over the last 35 years, because I started in the early 80s, I used to travel all over the country and work, especially on new launches when we were launching new high velocity centers for Ford Motor Company. And I was traveling the country and doing ISO audits and all different kinds of stuff for them. I was working, minimum 12 to 16-hour days and 7 days a week on a new launch on a new PDC in a whole new building. and it was like unbelievable. And but that's just like my DNA. I get into something. So, you know, the joke is, yeah, Jeff, you know, why everybody else is getting divorced and you're not? It's because you never saw your wife. And I was like, well, it's kind of true, you know. But the other thing too is that I kind of missed my daughter growing up because I was always on the road, and my customers and my company that I work for were first and foremost, which was the bad, really, really bad. That's why I preach that now. It's like, please, guys, you know, think about you and your family over your business. Look, it helped me out in my career. You know, blossomed rather well, but you know, I paid a sacrifice for sure. And it wasn't the right way to go. And balance, man, you got to get there. And I've been getting better over the last, you know, 5-6 years since I started my own business. And I try to do that, but I'm still not there. But it's very, very important. Don't be me and work your ass off 12, 14, 16 hours a day and forget about the loved ones in your life, man. You only got one life, people out there, you know. Divide it up right. You can't turn around and redo it.
Yeah, that's crazy to mention. And Lisa brings up her wins as well. You know, like had some me time yesterday, get a massage. I know how important that is. You know, Jeff, when was the last time you got a massage? Just out of curiosity.
I never got. I
Hey, there
never
we go.
got.
I know it. You need to get one, my friend. You need to get one. My wife is actually a RMT.
That sounds really good too.
Yeah. So it's really important to have like your days and things like lesson. That communication is so key, especially with Chad. That he isn't a mind reader, and that is so important because communication, customers, your loved ones, it's just so important to understand that hey, they're not a mind reader. Like, you know, like people like to be blunt and say, hey, I'm upfront, I'm real and things like that, but they don't
Yeah.
express their true feelings. And it's like, hey, if I want fried chicken tonight, just say you want fried chicken tonight. Don't be like, hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? You know, in the persuasion, right? But understand those things, right? And that's my wife and I, we've been married for 3 years, and it's been the best 3 years of my life. And just understanding that we're continuously improving, you know, and we're not going to be perfect, right? And Lisa brings up a point back to our thing about balance here is that she used to work every vacation for years, and then she hired help and let that control go. It used to make sense for her, and then now growing a family. See, there we go. You know, 2 points, the same point that you made, Jeff, and everything coming back here. Like, you know, it's delegate, you know, delegate and automate. You know, I know Dan's a big fan of that. I'm kind of saying that. And, you know, these, like you said, these moments, they don't come back. My wife and I, we don't have kids yet. And when we take that step, you know, I want to be fully involved.
Wait.
Yeah, that's what it's.
You know, it's those sleepless nights. You know, it's funny. We can always talk about this some other time, but my ex-boss, we're very, very good friends. When I was working for Onkyo Electronics for about 11 years, everybody said that we drank from the same water fountain because his kid was born a week before mine, and then I was the next one. And I used to literally fall asleep on my desk at work, and he would put stickies on the back of my head, you know, new dad, you have all these kind of things. And, you know, we had that working relationship, nothing like the pressures of today where, you know, that's not accepted, but it changes your life, my friend. It changes your life. It's that, I'll tell you, out of all the accomplishments in my life, seeing my daughter born was something that unbelievable. It was the best thing in my life over any other accomplishment that I have ever done. Unbelievable. It's a feeling that you can't really express unless you feel it. Yeah, man, it's awesome. I get a little teary eyed from it. Even, you know, my daughter's almost 30 years old now, and it's like I remember it like yesterday, man. It's awesome.
Well, I see you with like my mom. Yeah, of course, no, and I see it with my mom too. You know, like my mom is always, she's like, even my mom, she's always supporting the show, always leaving comments on Facebook and things like that, and always like, you know, checking in. Like I live on my own with my wife, she'll still text in and be like, "Hey, did you eat dinner?" And it's like, well, mom, like what? I'm a 34-year-old man, you know. But at the end of the day, like she never stops caring, and that's the one thing. Maybe we'll have an episode about this next week, because my wife's been reading a really good book, and she's actually been asking me questions about it, like as she's reading it. And then it's so true to exactly what the points that you're making right now. And I think family life is something that we really don't talk about. We think about the hustle, 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 but and we obviously know why. We're obviously hustling for them, right? But are we showing that? How are we showing them? So
Yeah, it's all about the hustle culture, right? You hear about that day in and day out, man. It's sorry guys, it's wrong. It's good and it's wrong at the same
yeah.
time. And then it's unfortunate that once you realize that it's too late, it's too late. You really have to, you can't be up here and then be down here. You gotta be here. I don't care what the hell you do, man. You need to get that balance. And I'm the one that should be listening to myself, right? Because I was just saying that I don't have that in my life as much as I would love to have it. And I'm getting there. I mean, I am building my business where I will eventually get there a lot sooner than what I thought. And it's all good. It's all good.
Scott brings up an amazing point here, that for one of the reasons why he went on the training side is that work-life balance. Did his time, and he made a lot of good money, and checked some boxes. Found something that matches his passion, down to knowledge and experience. And you know what? The reason why we have this show is because Dan started the show, right, Jeff? And
Yeah.
there was a point in his life, in Dan's life, where he was like, "Hey, I'm the top guy at my brokerage, my asset company, or things like that, and I want to pass this on." I'll go through this quickly because, well, you know what? It's Friday. We can talk as long. But the story of how Dan and I met is actually pretty cool, because it's actually coming up to 3 years that I met
I gotta
Dan.
tell you about the story about Dan and I and how we met.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear. And like so I started at the company that I'm with, and what my boss, he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, all the sales guys, I'm paying for you guys to go to a training all day in Mississauga." And then boom, I went to the we all went to the training, and I was only probably like a month or two in at this company, so building my new book, right? Because like I'm not bringing prospects from my last customer, from my last company. So I was at that ground zero. So it's funny how life hits you, because that was the time that I needed the training, like, the things that he was saying. And then we just connected so much, just the things that he was kind of saying. And I chat with him after. And here was a sign of good luck. While we took a lunch break, I got an email. I was checking my email, and I actually got my first loads from a brand new customer that day. And they lined up. I'll never forget, and the customer was like that. And I was like, Dan, I went straight to Dan. I was like, "Man, you're a good luck charm." And just the way that he, like, I was a complete stranger to him, and the way that he was like happy for me. And we continued training, and like we went from student mentor to, I really consider Dan a really good friend, a brother, and it's funny how life happens. Yeah, well, let's hear what, and everybody in the comments, how did you guys connect with Dan? Because I'd love to send
I'll
this
tell
to
you
him
what.
afterwards.
So let's just revisit the saying that I've always said since you've known me. I'm not a sales guy, right? So I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm going all over the place, and then I run into HPLS, and I was like, high performance logistics sales. I wonder what this is about. So here's Dan in his car, and snowing and everything, and he's got the phone up like this, and he's chatting, and he out here is the road, but he's driving like this and everything. But I see in the back behind him, and I'm not kidding you, there's these cars that are like going all over the place because it's like snowing and shit out there. And it's like, dude, what the hell are you doing? So long story short, I send him a message. I don't know Dan from whatever, and I'm like, "Hey, dude, listen, I watched your show, and I have a couple questions to ask you. Do you have family? Do you have kids? Do you want to watch them grow up? Do you love your wife? Blah, 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 right?" And he's like, "Yeah, why?" And I said, "Well, put the damn phone down and stop doing your show while driving, where people are wiping out behind you. The rest is history." And he tells the story all the time. And then we just connected, and Dan's a good friend. That's why I'm here. I believe in what Dan is doing, and we connected, and we've had many, many different conversations. And when Dan got sick, I'm the kind of guy that if I commit to something, I'm in it to win it. And I shouldn't say win it, because there's no win in this here, because Dan is fighting every day with the disease that he has, and he's a friend. And so I said, you know what, whatever it takes, I will fill the seat until you can come back, and then I'll go over the sunset, man, and be out of here. But that's why I do this show, just to help him. And it's built my confidence by doing this, because now I'm on other podcasts and I love doing this stuff, and I know we're helping people, and I love doing that mentoring and stuff like that. So Dan created a monster.
Yeah, he did.
in
And you
this
know what? And
thing,
you know,
man.
like prior to
He's
even
a
having
good
this podcast, you and I probably spoke like once before. I remember we had a phone call once and I was talking business, but it's been amazing to kind of like be here with you. It was the same thing with me, with Dan, that he messaged me and said, "Hey, will you come on the show?" Things. And right away I was like, "Yeah, of course. Hell yeah." Like, like the first week was a little bit anxiety and things like that. But then once we got into it, we got into it. And I think that's the fear of the unknown, right? Like, is somebody going to leave a comment, "Ryan, you suck?" Like, it's like one of those
I
things.
don't care. I don't care,
Yeah.
because you know what? You got to be you.
Yep.
That's like, let's just relate that to sales, right?
Yep.
People hate the company that I work with, right? I don't care what their thoughts are, because that has no bearing on me as a person in this industry and what I've done in my career. I may work. You're not dealing with the company. It's not a company name. It's a person that you're doing business with. So do I get those kind of comments? Sure. I don't give a shit. I don't really care on that side, because I let my customers, I let my associates, I let my ex-bosses speak for my accomplishments, and that's all that matters to me. I don't sell myself. I just do what I've been doing over the last 35 years, except now in a sales position, if that makes any sense. So I don't care if anybody has negative comments about me. It doesn't do anything. It hurts them more than it hurts me. It is what it is. And in this industry, you will get that.
You
You
gotta
will
have
get
thick skin,
that.
right? You gotta detach from the outcome, just boom, like I've always kind of said, like, hey, like even if I'm on a sales call and somebody's like, I've never, what's crazy? I've never had anybody being rude to me ever. Like I know I've read stories, like, like people tell them to F off or like get lost or anything like that. But like I've never had that, I've never personally had that. And if I did, because I kind of do want to have that one day just to kind of experience it, to have a story to say.
I
But
know.
it's just like, what, even if somebody did say that, it's like, okay, off to the next one. It's awesome. And Scott actually brings up his story of how he met Dan here, was that he came across Dan actually came across his LinkedIn. I saw HPLS, saw an episode on game plan for the year, and it resonated when he was teaching. Then saw an episode with him and DJ and said, yes, this is a must follow. And yeah, you guys a little praise here. I think Scott slipped you a little 20 before he got there, but Jeff's definitely, yeah, it's we've talked about that a lot, Jeff. I won't bring it up here, but it's so true. Like I know even some companies I worked at, they won't work with the company, but it's the person you invest in, right? And just give that opportunity, and I give that chance to let me shine, and you know what you're talking about, so anybody would be lucky to call you a partner.
Yeah, the thing is don't be someone that you're not. Some people, in this industry, you have to have a chameleon type personality, right? I always say you have to be like semi-psychologist, because you're dealing with different personalities every time you get on the phone. You don't know this person's, thought process, or how he's going to come across, or her, so you have to have that quick adaptability to understand and listen very, very well to what they're saying and adapt to that change. It's like having that chameleon, you're shedding your skin and you're jumping in, but you still have your mindset that you built yourself on, and that's going to come through. But it's managing different personalities. To be successful, that's what you have to do. It's like when you're working for a company and you have associates in other parts of the country, and you're getting in a plane, you never met them before, and you walk through. Well, you have to walk through that door and be larger than life.
Yes.
You have to be the bear in the room, and come across that, but be nice about it. Because a first impression is a lasting impression, right? You've always heard that. So come across as, an empathetic, understanding professional that can help somebody with their issues, and be a better listener than a talker. That's how you have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
come across on that.
Yeah, the best thing, especially being a listener, is like, you say what you got to say and just shut up. Just be, even if it's awkward, just shut up. And that's the thing. And even Scott kind of brings up here is like, he's intrigued by you because like you've built a personal brand. They should, yeah, yeah. LS should definitely hire you as a true brand ambassador, and you would see all the applications come through, and like that's maybe you should look in. I know
Yeah,
you've got
you know,
something at the end of the year, right?
what's
With
that?
them. You've got an award kind of thing with them at the end, like you're going out to meet everybody at the end of the year, I think, right? At
Yeah,
LS.
actually, in the beginning, in the first quarter of that. But it's funny what Scott's saying, and I kind of know his background without knowing the gentleman personally. I've never met him, but he was in the military, and I married a major general's daughter, and I've worked for Snyder National in a very structured environment. And I know that Scott is very, very structured because he was in the military and he's got that focus. He was trained in that ability. So when he gets honed in on something, I'll bet my house on it that he doesn't come off that issue quickly, that
Mm.
he'll go and do what's necessary because those guys are structured. That's the kind of environment that I've worked into, set process is very highly structured, that you have to follow it, from A to Z, and there's no difference or taking a side rail from that. You create your steps, you work those steps, you understand those steps, and you express those steps. And being very structured, that's pretty much like the way that I work. But structure is good in this industry, and having that, especially when you build your work instructions and your process improvement plans, and you implement new processes. It's always good to have that structured mindset.
I like that because like something that I actually wrote down this week is that I don't chase perfection. I'll never be perfect at whatever. Even I'm a musician. You see all these instruments. I'll never be perfect at these. I'll never be an ongoing student. But what I chase is discipline. Knowing that every day I'm going to play my instruments for like 15 to 20 minutes each, even with like work. Like I've got my scheduled, and even with Lisa, it kind of says here like discipline built. And I kind of want to get into a story about how she actually met Dan because I thoroughly love it. Is that he reached out to her on LinkedIn while he started to check her out. All his videos and content drew her in. She got on the email list and got these awesome messages. Was interested in HPLS, but the timing just wasn't right at the time. And then she kept all the emails. And that's the one thing. And that's the one thing when it comes to customers as well. Like keep prospecting. They might not answer your email. They might not answer your phone calls, but they're gonna keep note of that. And I've seen that this year during like the pandemic times, like early this year, where capacity was tight with the vaccines in Canada, the mandate. Sorry, I've had prospects reach out to me that I've sent them, like I literally went and checked, and I've sent them minimum like 10 to 15 emails, no reply. Just no reply at all, and then they're like, yeah, we just went through our Rolodex and we looked you up and things like that. But getting back to Lisa's point here is that she kept all the emails, so valuable. Fast forward to December 20 last year. She had her second baby, was a year old, and she finally reached out to him. Instantly felt connected and resonated and went through his Inception program. And now they're business partners. The rest is history, and that's,
Like-minded,
you want to talk
like-minded.
about impact. You
It's
want to
all
talk
about
about impact, though?
people.
Yeah, you want to talk about impact. You want to talk about legacy. That's we have everybody leaving these comments, and we have our own stories. It's not just about freight. It's not about logistics. It's not, forget all that stuff. That impact that you have. So Dan, I know you're watching. We love you. We want to say we miss you
Yes.
here, brother. You are loved. We can't wait to have you back at 100%. And you know what? You've impacted everyone who's watching today, us two included. So we can't wait for you to continue to do that. Jeff,
Absolutely.
what's your biggest takeaway before we say our goodbyes today?
Just everything that we talked about, hopefully not just myself, but you had impact on people's lives or thought processes today, and that we had a really good show this past week, and with Don Gilmore and what he had to talk about and what we spoke about. hopefully some of that resonates in the minds of our viewers, and hopefully a lot of that sets in, or we've helped them, think of different ways of approaching the sales arena and what we do and how we do it each and every day of our lives. Every day I learn, because I'm not a sales guy. I'm just honest. I keep on saying it and I laugh about it because I suck at sales, but I try to find different ways of doing what I do best. And it's working for me. That's why I say I've only made maybe 5 phone calls this whole year, and it's blossomed. How I did that? Yeah.
There's something about that. So, want to thank everybody for coming out this morning, coming out this week, and showing your love and support. If you find value in any of these videos that we have, please share it, like, comment
Yes,
it,
please.
subscribe to our channel, share it with somebody that you think that it can benefit their day, if they're kind of going through anything as well. And we will be hitting back the replay at 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time on our social channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Tune in next week. It's going to be another banger of a week. We've got a lot in store, a lot of surprises. So thank you again. Thank you again to our corporate sponsor, Daman from Centurion Trucking. An amazing
Thanks,
company, but a better person. So I want to say thank you, everybody. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.
Have a great weekend. See you next week, guys.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start designing your career today.